Morning everyone. How was your night? I hope your night was well. So welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson we're going to talk about the cell. By the end of this lesson, what are some of the objectives you need to have achieved as a learner? By the end of this lesson, you need to be able to define what is a cell, what are some of the organisms that have cells, and can you be in a position to identify a cell? So welcome to today's lesson. Now, we have different living organisms. Can you give me examples of living organisms that you know of? Yes? Nice. Another one? Oh, nice. So, animals are examples of living organisms. We also have plants. We also have human beings. We have dogs. You can say even cow, chicken, all of them. They're examples of living organisms. So, these living organisms, we are made up of structures called a cell. Now, what is a cell? A cell is the basic unit of life. Now, as a basic unit of life, it makes up the structure of an organism and how it looks like. Therefore, we're saying a cell is the basic, structural, and functional unit of life. What do we mean by that? The way I look, my structure is like this because my body is made up of cells. We can have a plant that looks like this because that structure is how the cells look like. My body functions the way it functions because of various cells. As we proceed in this topic, we will be able to see how various organisms function because they have cells. One thing you need to note, all living organisms have cells. Now, in our topic, we are going to focus on two living organisms. That is a plant cell and an animal cell. Now, animals, we've agreed that they're made up of cells. But one thing I want you to note is that I cannot see cells with my naked eyes. Even if I have aids, like the way teacher has an aid, I have added glasses, right? Yes, but I can't see them with my naked eyes because they're very, very tiny. And even if you look and open your eyes wide, you can see them. For that reason, we will be using a laboratory apparatus or an equipment in the lab. And that equipment is called a microscope, okay? Now, most of us have never heard of a microscope, neither have we seen a microscope. Good thing. Today I carried one microscope so that when we go to the lab, we'll be able to interact with it. Now, here it is. This is a microscope. Now, we are saying that the cell is very tiny and you can see it with our bare eyes. Now, when we want to observe the cells, we will be using this apparatus or this equipment. And this equipment is called a microscope. Now, we will be using the microscope to view cells. When we talk about an animal cell, when we observe an animal cell, we will go to the lab, we will obtain a part of our cells and place it in the microscope. This microscope, once we view the animal cell under a light microscope, this is how the structure will look like. An animal cell is very simple. Under a light microscope, we can only be able to see three things. And those three things are, number one, the cell membrane, the nucleus, and the cytoplasm. These three things, they are called cell organelles. Now, they make up part of the animal cell. The cell membrane is the outer covering of the cell. And not just any cell, it is the outer covering of an animal cell. As the outer covering of the animal cell, it encloses everything that is found within that animal cell. Inside that cell membrane, we will have a fluid-like structure. This fluid-like structure will be able to observe it, and its name is the cytoplasm. Now, any organism, we've said that without cells, our bodies cannot function. Without cells, our organisms cannot be able to function properly, sorry for that, and they will not have the same structure. Now, the engine of all cells, be it in an animal cell or in a plant cell, is going to be this structure at the center here, called the nucleus. Called what? The nucleus. Now, we are going to go into our groups when we go to the next lesson, and we will observe what are some of the functions of this part of the cell. How many minutes? Oh, 5.